A Very Wet Elf Adventure, Part 1, One Sparkly Drop. School was out, and it was a rainy afternoon. Jamila, Alejandra, and Campbell walked home splashing in every puddle. "Where does water go after the rain stops?" asked Alejandra. "Some runs down the street, but where does the rest go?" "I think it just disappears," Campbell said. "Hey, look! We can see ourselves in this puddle," Jamila called out. "Come closer." The three girls huddled by the puddle. "I know who we can ask," Alejandra said, jiggling the charm on her bracelet. They looked at their faces reflected in the water. Then each girl held out her arm and wiggled her charm. "Twist me and turn me and show me the elf. I looked in the water and saw myself." The girls chanted the words together slowly. Suddenly, a fourth face stared back at them from the puddle. "You called?" asked Brownie Elf. "We did," said Jamila, smiling down at their small friend. "We want to know what happens to water after it rains," said Campbell. "That's easy," said the elf. "Water is moving and changing all the time. Let's follow a sparkly drop." She scooped up a handful of water and threw it in the air. The girls looked up. A rainbow appeared. Then a giant bubble floated down around them and lifted them up. The girls could now see the water drop up close. "I can see its tiny sparkle," Campbell shouted. The drop rose and became misty. It joined other drops and turned bright violet in the rainbow. "The color of my raincoat!" Jamila exclaimed. The girls stared and smiled. The yellow of Alejandra's slicker and the red of Campbell's coat were also in the rainbow. "The rainwater in the puddle only seemed to disappear," Brownie Elf said. "It became vapor." "Is that what happens to my dog Tango's water when his bowl sits in the sun all day?" Campbell asked. "Or what happens to water in a saucepan when we boil eggs for too long?" asked Alejandra. "That's right," said Brownie Elf. "And when sunlight shines on lots of misty water in the right way, you can see a rainbow," the elf added. The girls watched the rainbow fade and the sparkle rise higher. It became a water drop again, this time part of a fluffy cloud. "That's what clouds are made of, misty vapor turned back into water drops. I'll show you more of that later," Brownie Elf promised. "I've seen droplets dribble down the window when I take a hot shower," said Jamila. "Same thing," said Brownie Elf. "That change is called condensation." The sparkly water drop rose higher. Then it froze. "Now it looks like crystal," Alejandra exclaimed. "It's a snowflake," Campbell said. "Wow!" The girls watched the snowflake dart and dance. The wind blew it here and there, then it flew right by them. Down and down it went. Down and down the girls followed. The air became warmer. A strong wind blew the snowflake away. "It's melting into water," Campbell said. "Awesome," said Jamila. "Look how far it's gone." "And how many things it's been," said Alejandra. "I wonder what it will do next," Campbell said as she ran ahead. "Will it ever stop changing?" Jamila asked. Brownie Elf smiled. "Water's journey never really ends. It's a circle that keeps going around like bicycle wheels. No beginning and no end. That's why it's called the water cycle." Said Campbell. "So we can't follow it to the end, because there is no end. But maybe a little longer, please?" In a forest clearing, the sparkly drop landed at the foot of a tree. Then it vanished. "Did it go underground?" Campbell asked. "Yes," said Brownie Elf, "and it may be moving deeper down as groundwater." "What's that?" Alejandra asked. "Well," answered Brownie Elf, "under the ground, water gets stored in many places. Sometimes it bubbles up in springs." The four walked toward a small stream. "Go ahead and feel it," Brownie Elf suggested. "Yikes!" Jamila shouted. "It's cold!" "Yes, it's cold, but it's also very clean. There's our sparkly drop again," Brownie Elf said, pointing to a glimmer on the surface of the water. "How'd it get there?" asked Campbell. "And so fast?" Sometimes I can speed up time, the elf said with a wink. The drop raced underground over rocks and stones. Then it came out fresh and clean in a spring. The spring fed this small stream, and now it's joining a bigger stream called a river. The drop was already rising again from the water's surface. I get it, Alejandra said. The drop is starting its journey all over again. When the drop joined a cloud growing heavier and darker, they heard a boom. At the first clap of thunder, Brownie Elf led the girls to the safety of a porch. From there, they watched the storm. This time, the drop fell as rain and landed on a rooftop. It dripped past the girls' noses, splashed on the sidewalk, and rolled toward the street. Truck exhaust mixed with the trickling rainwater. So did plastic bottles and old candy wrappers. The water drop's sparkle faded. All that junk is making the water dirty, Campbell said. And look, there's oily stuff in it, too. The water is heading to a drain, Jamila said. When water races over the ground like this, it's called runoff. And that's a storm drain, Brownie Elf said. Dirty air and litter made the sparkly drop look so sad, Alejandra said. Can it ever get clean again? Some water drops do, the elf said. But dirty water can be very hard for people to clean. It's best to keep it pure from the start. The whole world shares the same water. So if we make the water dirty, we might be taking clean water away from people living somewhere else? Alejandra asked. That's right, Allie, said Brownie Elf. The girls and the elf walked to the sea. A pipe carrying storm runoff was jetting over the water. Brownie Elf soon spotted the drop they had been following as it made its way out of the pipe and into the sea. Maybe it will go to Mexico, Campbell said. Maybe it will come out of the faucet in my kitchen and I'll drink it, said Alejandra. Maybe it will be blown on a cloud to China, then rain down into a river, Jamila said. And then rush over a mountain as a waterfall, Brownie Elf added. Lucky drop. I would love to go to China, said Jamila. But we should probably go home now. Yes, let's go home. Let's get you home, said Brownie Elf. And poof, they were back at their rain puddle. When you're ready for a new adventure, you know how to find me, the elf told the girls. We'll visit wetlands and see wonderful water creatures. Thank you, the girls said. And with a poof, the elf was gone. Water does so many amazing things, said Campbell. I can't wait to see more. Me too, said Alejandra. I think we should promise to keep our water clean. And not waste water, said Jamila. Water is one more thing everybody shares. And then the three girls formed a Brownie goodbye circle before heading home.